What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Bryce DeGroat. We are talking ball and everything that's happened in the last 3 days of free agency. Bryce, let's kick it off with the best quarterback signing of it. Kyler Murray is heading to the Minnesota Vikings. Talk about the football move overall.
Yeah, no, I like it. I posted on Twitter even before he went there. If Kyler Murray went to the Vikings, I think they're a playoff team, and I still think that. I think they're a double-digit win team. Last year, team was really complete, top to bottom. Some holes, but team was a complete overall good football team. It was really just held back by the quarterback in 9, and now you're getting Kyler Murray, who I'm a believer in. People look at what he's done in the Cardinals and say what you want, but I think that's more on Petsing more than anything. I still think Kyler Murray can play. Maybe not at a top 10, top 8 quarterback level, but I still think he's above average quarterback in this league. And you get him in a pretty special offense at this point. So I'm super excited to see him work with Kevin O'Connell and everything they got there. So I'm a big fan of the move.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for both sides overall. Murray even mentioned like he was a massive Vikings fan growing up, which he closeted very well. But he had a lot of success in Arizona towards the beginning of his tenure, which earned him that massive contract. And I know I mentioned this already in a video recorded for the fantasy football impact of this move, but you look at Baker Mayfield, you look at Daniel Jones, you look at Sam Darnold, you could argue that of this, quarterback group that has completely revived their careers, Kyler Murray may have had the best run prior to a new regime. And I think that's intriguing. And especially with Kevin O'Connell, who's already had a lot of success developing Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, that is worth something. He enters the situation with arguably the best receiver in football, one of the top defenses in football that somehow carried a offense that was 28th in APA to a 9-8 record. So, like, this is a great situation Kyler Murray's entering. He's playing on a veteran minimum contract. If they shore up center, if they add a little bit of depth to the offensive line, there's nothing stopping this offense from returning to a top 5, top 10 offense just based on play alone. So I absolutely love the move for both sides. My question for you, Bryce, does this move elevate the Minnesota Vikings to the best team in the NFC North?
Uh I don't know. I still think the Lions get back. I still believe in what the Lions got. I don't
Yeah, you're
really
stealing my pick. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're stealing a pick.
I can't put my finger on it what went wrong this past season because they got some injuries, but it wasn't like the year prior, all this and all that. But I think the Lions are really good. I mean, getting Samuel quarterback is going to be big, and just look at the team top to bottom. Team's talented, and second year kind of refreshed off the Ben Johnson loss. I like the Lions still.
Yeah, I was when we were at the combine, I actually overheard some Lions people talking about the situation with John Morton last year and how bad it truly was. I do think that carried over into some of the inconsistencies on the offensive side of the ball, despite them having some of their normal performances. So I think having a new face, while I don't think Drew Petzing is great, might help them. So we'll see how that decides to work out on that side of it. But defensively, they still have a lot of work to do on that side of the ball. But like, the thing I look at with the Lions and why I'm picking them to win the North at the moment, the schedule looks exactly like the New England Patriots did entering this year, and the Lions are, you could argue, a better team on paper than the Patriots were entering last season. So with Detroit, I think that they're going to be in for a very good season, and like the NFC North is going to cannibalize itself. You have the Bears, who look like they've made some interesting moves this offseason. The defense is going to look completely different on that side of the ball. No DJ Moore. I do expect them to have a good season once again, but it also felt like at times last year they got lucky in some of these games instead of truly dominating some of these wins. The other team, the Green Bay Packers, Micah Parsons returns, right? The Packers are always consistently good. And then the last team, right, the Minnesota Vikings we just talked about, is going to be good because they have an elite defense. They had Kyler Murray. Right now, if you had to tell me how the division is going to shake out, Lions, Vikings, Packers. I got the Bears in fourth place, and I do think these teams are all going to be very close, and it's hard to judge them right now based on not watching them. But this division is very tough and very tight, and I think it's going to be something to watch throughout the year.
Yeah, that would probably be the exact order I'd go in, and I got to watch what I say because people are gonna kill me because people think I'm like the biggest Bears hater ever. And I mean the luck rankings were literally through the roof last year, and
Them
we
and the
see that every
Broncos were
year.
historic. We're doing some historic stuff last season on the luck
Yeah,
metric.
no, so it's gonna be interesting. Like this division, no matter who you say is finishing first and who you say is finishing last, I'll look at you and be like, Do I agree? No, but I'm not calling you crazy. Whatever. Like this division is so wide open, and I'm excited for it. I mean, we got a couple months away, but I'm excited.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about another quarterback. Geno Smith is going from the Raiders to the Jets, Bryce. Well, do you think this is a Geno revival going on in New York, or is this going to look like his Raiders tenure?
The Raiders tenure. It might even be worse, bro. I just Gino had the cool story in Seattle with his saying and everything, and I was rooting for him. But this past year was brutal. Offense wasn't good, but you can argue this Jets offense is even worse if they had a wide receiver in the first round. Okay, it might be a little bit better, but the offense isn't good regardless. Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson, the offensive line is still below average, and you don't have a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and Mason Taylor as a tight end is very like this offense ain't that good, and I just go back to it until the Jets prove me that they're not the Jets. I just will never believe that a quarterback will step in there and be some hero. I was just saying actually yesterday that if the Jets don't turn around their franchise in the next 2 years with 5 first-round draft picks, I don't think they're ever gonna turn it around. Like I just it's the Jets thing, so I don't really think Gino's gonna do anything special.
The interesting part about this is I look at the Jets, it's very clear what they're doing. They're just trying to hit a salary minimum for their roster, and they are clearly tanking for next season to get a quarterback. Like that, it's blatantly obvious, right? The Cardinals are actually doing something similar. Like they go Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. They haven't really made any significant moves to improve this roster. It feels like both these teams are competing for a quarterback next year instead of competing in 2026, and they're trying to set themselves up for it. The interesting part about this is the Jets are going all veterans, right, for their losing season, not trying to see if any young guys could potentially step up. And I just don't know what it is. I don't think Aaron Glenn and this regime are the people that are going to fix New York. Like last season was abysmal in so many different ways, and the coaching staff had a massive part in the reasons the Jets had a ton of shortcomings. I mean, Robert Saleh at least had this group competing and was solid on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, the Jets were just abysmal, and they just gave up. They traded Sauce Gardner. They traded Quentin Williams. They traded all these pieces to where it's blatantly obvious the Jets are going through a complete rehaul of this roster, and they're adding all these veterans, and it's just clear like the Jets are not going to compete this year. Like if Geno Smith could win 9 games with this roster, that would be outstanding. That would be unbelievable.
That's funny you say that because I kind of looked at it in the opposite because I see them signing these vets and I'm like, because all these vets are like 1-year deals or even 2-year deals. And I'm like, to me, I was looking at it from they're just trying to save their jobs right now. Like they're trying to bring in like Demario Davis, Minka Fitzpatrick, these older guys who aren't a part of a rebuild. Like they're obviously not a part of a rebuild, but are they just trying to stay afloat to keep their jobs? Like why are they bringing these guys in? But you can look at it from either way. Either way,
I
the
think I could
Jets.
play Madden and do a better GM job than what the Jets have done this offseason. I mean, this has been bad. This has been bad.
Yeah, no, Brees Hall is whatever. Brees Hall, I'm cool with, but I love Garrett Wilson, and it stinks to see him suffer. So I hope they get a quarterback from him at some point.
Yeah, they need to. Those two guys are too talented to be stuck in this Jets offense. A team that I do want to talk about, right? Two teams have not been making moves, actually. So the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos. The Jaguars mentioned Gladstone, the GM, said, we would rather get some of these compensatory picks for ETN, Devin Lloyd, and potentially trade those in training camp or midseason for an impact player during the year. And then the Denver Broncos, they've retained a few guys. They haven't added anybody. What are your thoughts on these two playoff teams who just aren't making moves this offseason?
Jaguars, understandable. Like I see the vision, especially because we know what these type of guys do there. Like with the Travis Hunter, like moving up for him, like that's rare. Like these guys can be aggressive, so I'm not gonna knock them too much. The Broncos, on the other hand, I have no idea what they're doing. Like I know they were definitely going for a running back early on, and when they couldn't land ETN K9 or whatever, they're like, okay, we're bringing Dobbins back. But that was absolutely it. They re-signed Troutman. Like they lost Greenlaw. They lost John Franklin Myers. They lost multiple pieces and didn't add a single guy. Like you said, they retained guys who aren't even that good in the first place. Dobbins is good, but can't stay healthy. And like I don't really know what they're doing. It was pretty much like they made the AFC Championship, were a quarterback injury away from going to the Super Bowl, and now they're kind of like, we'll watch the rest of the division make moves and get better, and we'll just sit here and watch. Like I don't really. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't truly understand.
Yeah, I think this is a situation where there's a few factors. I think the Broncos think they're a little bit better than they are. I think in that regard, with where their roster was last season, towards the end of the year, you could see some cracks in the defensive side of the ball start to show for the first time. It felt like in 3 seasons. Offensively, they were never consistently good. So you had to look at that offense and say, what do we need to add? I do think tight end is going to be a target, and they're going to try to find a way to get Kenyon Sadiq at the end of the first round, but I'm not even sure that happens. Or they're going to go try to get Eli Stowers maybe in the second round, right? And try to draft him early. But the Denver Broncos kind of are in a situation where you have that Russell Wilson dead cap still kind of almost in the rearview mirror at this point. They're finally getting out of that. But like Bo Nix is still on his rookie deal. You find ways to add talent around Bo Nix on his rookie deal, even if cap space isn't like so much to have. And they've done a job of paying all the defensive guys, right? Their defense is very expensive, as it should be. Like they produced at an elite level, and they have a lot of money tied up on that defense, the offensive line, and those two units are the reason why Denver was successful last year. But so many wins in one score games. You don't have a true elite wide receiver one. Cortland Sutton's a good wide receiver two, not a one. The running backs last year, while Dobbins was good, wasn't great. Harvey was not good overall. No tight end. Bo Nix was absolutely inconsistent the entire year. Like, you have to go all in on Bo Nix, because the problem that Denver's entering is they're getting to a point where Bo Nix has won too many games to where they're going to be obligated to give him a second contract. Bo Nix is a player that scares me if he gets a second contract, in a large part due to the fact that he has just been so inconsistent through the first 2 seasons of his career. He's an older guy already, so he was very plug and play at the quarterback position. I'm not sure if Bo Nix gets significantly better and more consistent throughout his career, because the offensive line, his first 2 years, has been damn near the best offensive line in football. So it is very concerning what Denver's doing. Jacksonville, I do think the losses of Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne can't be understated, especially Lloyd on the defensive side of the ball. So I hated that they let him walk just for a pick, but Etienne is understandable, right? I think Lloyd was a mistake, but Etienne's understandable. The Broncos are definitely in a worse spot.
It felt weird. Like I felt like that Lloyd price was so doable too. Like I don't
It
really
was.
know.
So the linebackers was interesting because Lloyd, like I said, one of the best linebackers in football. He gets 15 million a year. The Chiefs paid Nick Bolton, who can't cover right now, 15 million a year just to be a good run defender. So the linebacker market seems like it's a cheap market, right? These premium positions, edge rusher, for example, expensive, right? Linebacker, not so much.
Yeah, no, and I might as well just shoot my shot now, March 13th, because we're talking about these teams. Might sound crazy because especially how this past year just went, but I truly believe March 13th, calling my shot, and I can come back to this when it happens in 10 months. But I think the Patriots, the Broncos, both teams that just made the AFC Championship, and the Super Bowl champs, the Seahawks. I think all three of those teams miss the playoffs next year. So 3 of the last 4 teams, including the Super Bowl champ of this past season, I think they all miss the playoffs next year.
Wow.
So,
Wow. That is hot.
Yeah, no, Patriots is definitely. I think the Bills take that division back. I'm out on the Broncos. I think they're third, at least third. I think Chiefs take it back, and if not, I'm a Chargers guy. I think Broncos are third in the division, and then Seattle. We all know how tough the NFC West is, and Rams are my Super Bowl champ, and Niners are a couple injuries away from being the best team in football. So I really think you're looking at Patriots second in the division, and Broncos and Seahawks in probably third, and I think they all miss. So.
Wow, that is going to be spicy. I'm definitely getting behind that Broncos take, though. I'm very behind the Broncos missing the playoffs this year based on how they did. The Seahawks, I'm trending towards that direction, but we will see kind of how they fill this out with the draft, because they've done such a good job drafting. And then the Patriots, I don't know. We'll see. But moving on.
You think they're a wild card team, or you think they still have a chance at the division?
I think the Patriots are probably a wild card team right now. I think the Bills will probably win. But here's the interesting part: the Bills are so poorly run. Like, they haven't hit on a draft pick in 3 years. Like, this is not a good roster right now. I know they made some moves like CJ Gardner Johnson. Whoa, right? They added who'd they add at edge? They added Bradley Chubb. Like, okay, like these are not necessarily like needle movers for Buffalo. Josh Allen and James Cook are the needle movers, and those guys were there last year. Like it's going to be a similar situation, but they lose Sean McDermott, right? Sean McDermott was actually a good defensive coach, and now they're running a different defensive scheme with the same offense. Like I don't know how it's going to work out completely, and I'm not sure it's just better than what they've had. So Buffalo, I'm very hesitant just because I think they're poorly run overall. My next thing, though, Bryce, the Maxx Crosby situation. We haven't been on the podcast since the Crosby situation happened, right? This was absolutely insane with the Trey Hendrickson move, the Crosby, all this, and then there's been reports now that Trey Hendrickson thought he was going to play with Maxx Crosby. What were your thoughts on this?
I I'm gonna be honest. Eric DaCosta was in that interview, and if he was lying, he got me because what he was saying, I was buying it. I'm like, this guy sounds like he's like being so real right now. Like he was either the greatest liar of all time, or I'm just too gullible. Either one of the two. It truly felt like they were trying to add both of them, and they just weren't comfortable with something with Maxx Crosby, and they were like, we can't risk all this. But seems hard to believe, but I was truly believing it. And you look at it as has a team ever added a Maxx Crosby and a Trey Hendrickson in the same offseason? It seems pretty
I don't know how
unrealistic.
they would have been able to swing that with their cap space.
Yeah, that's exactly why it sounds kind of crazy. But Eric DeCosta, like I was listening and I was like, why do I feel like I'm believing him? But I'm like, that's why I'm not a lie detector person because I'm lost. So, um, regardless, it was the right move for the Ravens. Well, from a business standpoint, if a little shady, but from a business standpoint, I'm taking Trey Hendrickson for 28 mil a year and saving my 2 first-round picks over Maxx Crosby 100%. And Maxx Crosby's Twitter post did get me fired up because you definitely know he's got a chip on his shoulder at this point. So,
yeah, it's the Raiders basically. While they didn't get 2 first-round draft picks for Crosby, they do get an edge rusher after making free agency moves, and that was my biggest concern. Like as I saw all these moves on day one, and I'm like, they don't have a star. They still lack a star, and they don't have a pass rush anymore without Crosby. They get the pass rush back, but they lose 2 first-round picks. So it's like it's almost like they traded 2 first-rounders for Crosby back, and it is what it is. Like I think their defense will be below average, right? They get Mendoza. They're still going to need a wide receiver in the draft. Like the Raiders will still be like just meh this year. Like it's a 2-year rebuild still. But I think getting Maxx Crosby back is something that they needed because I did not like the direction they were going with the defense. Paying linebackers, getting mid-level corners, not getting premium positions filled up. Like they didn't do a great job in the additions that they made, even though they're trying to fill out a defensive roster because they have cap space. I didn't really love what they were doing free agent wise. So I thought it was a good move from them. And then the Baltimore side of it, just scummy still, just very scummy. Like if there's NFL teams that are still trying to trade for Crosby after this happens, you know that the Ravens are just got cold feet, a little bit scummy of a team. I would never do business with them. They're the fantasy football team that he's always cheating. He's always trying to find a way. And sure, you got your consolation prize in Trey Hendrickson. Everybody's pissed off because of it. But I think with Baltimore, still encouraging that they wound up adding a pass rusher. We'll see if Trey Hendrickson at this point in his career can stay healthy because that's been a big thing for him the last 2 seasons overall. And I think the biggest thing Baltimore loses out on that people aren't really seeing is Maxx Crosby is also an elite run defender, right? Khalil Mack and Jesse Minter's system, elite run defender. Trey Hendrickson is not that player. He's a one-dimensional pass rusher, and I do think that's a little bit concerning for Baltimore's defense under Jesse Minter. Obviously, you can't find like perfect guys on both sides very often, but Jesse Minter has had that for the Chargers when he's been there. Hendrickson is going to be a great pass rusher, but he's not going to be able to stop the run. So I do think it is a loss for the Ravens. They do keep their first round picks. I do think wide receiver is in play for them, whether that's Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, that potentially fall to 14. But I do also think they could look at, maybe Ruben Bain somehow falls to 14, or like an elite defender falls to 14, and they say, let's continue to build on that side of the ball. I think more than ever, the Ravens are trying to build an elite defense around Lamar Jackson and make it easy because the best chance they had was when they had that defense that was number one in the NFL, and they're trying to replicate that now, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of stagnate three things you said there. First off, Ruben Bain. I don't know if you saw that one video of
Dude,
him
that
in
was
training,
insane. I posted it
bro.
yesterday. Oh my goodness.
The third bag, a body should not move like that big, like that just was absolutely nuts. First off, second off, um, it's kind of crazy because at the combine, my question to Jesse Minter was like pass rush bottom five last year. How you expect to fix that? And they were like, well, first off, we're gonna evaluate the free agency market and the draft. And I didn't think that actually meant they were gonna go out and add a stud like this. I thought it was either draft or they're kind of just gonna develop what they have there. But that was kind of cool that they added one of those guys, especially Max. I was like, wow, little did I know they probably had Maxx Crosby brewing up in their head or whatever. But and then the third thing is for the Ravens, like they're probably my second favorite team. Like I don't know what it is. I just got a special spot in my heart for them. So like I root for them. Lamar Jackson's my favorite player in the league. This and that. But I think when it comes to the draft for them, I think like an edge would be awesome. But I just look at the offensive side of the ball. You lose Linderbaum. You either need to get a lineman bad, protect Lamar because that was a weak spot last year, or go out and get Tyson because I think Tyson would fit with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews so well in this offense. Mekhi, I love Mekhi, but I think Jordan Tyson would fit so well in this offense. And you had him, you had a lineman, and then probably third option is what I would think. But
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see kind of how they attack it and work from here. The next thing I want to talk about, Romeo Dobbs is heading to New England. It's been a big story that they want to add a wide receiver, Bryce. Is this the wide receiver one of the future for the New England Patriots?
no, not at all. I saw something that said um that they're not ruling out a Diggs or like a return. And I'm like, okay, if they bring Diggs back, we might be talking a little bit. Like I don't mind it. But if this is the receiver core they're going into next season with, I'll double down on my take that the Patriots miss next year. I don't know. I don't think this team's good. I can go on and on, but I think this is one of the worst receiving cores. It's a deep receiving room. Don't get me wrong. Like Kyle Williams, who I kind of like being their wide receiver 4, like it is not a bad look at all. It's just you got no difference makers. I watched Romeo Dobbs for years in Green Bay. He'll ball out one game and then go missing in the next. It's just way too up and down. And I really do think they get hit bad by this schedule next year. I think it's a reality check, and I don't think Romeo Dobbs is going to be that difference maker that'll really help them or elevate them.
Yeah, it's so tough. Like New England is very well coached, right? And Milton Williams, I think, outside of Drake May, was their second most valuable player last year overall. This defense, they added a few guys. Draymond Jones, like their pass rush was horrible last season. Draymond Jones is going to come in there and fix that. I don't think so. Their draft position, they're drafting at the end of the first round. Can they find a guy there at the edge to change everything? I don't think so. Offensive line wise, right? They've made some moves. Elijah Vera Tucker, like, does that move the needle for me? I don't think so. Like New England made so many moves last offseason that they worked, right? They had so many different options they could plug and play, and they revitalized the team with a really good coaching staff, had the schedule to make it happen, and they were a good football team. This year, right? Evaluating rosters side by side, you look at New England's team, they are just not that talented. Like they have Drake May, really good football player, Milton Williams, really good football player. Outside of those two guys, like I see a lot of average to slightly above average to
I'll give credit to Gonzo.
Yep. I don't know why Gonzo's just slipping my mind, but you got Gonzo in there too.
I figured.
But like, it's not like a talented roster compared to some of these other teams, especially when you look at the AFC side of things and what some of these other teams are going to be rolling out there this year. So with New England, like, how do you find a way to just go all in? You're still on Drake May's rookie contract. You're drafting at the end of the first round. Go trade 2 first. I'm sorry. Go trade them. Right? Go get AJ Brown. I don't know if you go trade the first and the second the Eagles want, because that's the move that they need to make in order to push this offense above the needle consistently to go compete against some of these elite defenses. Because Drake May had no chance this last year with the offensive line play, the receiving group that they had, the running backs that they had. Like, he had no chance. So you have to find a way to add talent on his rookie contract while you can, or this is going to be a situation we look at and say, man, the Patriots really missed Drake May's rookie contract window, and now it's going to be really tough to put a good team around him.
Yeah, it honestly felt like, I mean, the market just keeps going up, so it's kind of hard to say, but it felt like Dobbs was kind of like their last option. Like it felt like they went for AJ Brown. It felt like they went for a bigger guy. And it was like, we need to add someone. And it felt like they overpaid Dobbs. And that's what I view it as. Which I'm not knocking Dobbs. Like Dobbs is not a wide receiver one. He's not a wide receiver one in this league. But he's not a bad option. It just felt like that was kind of their result for not getting a bigger name player.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think they're in such a tough spot, it feels like, to go through and make a little bit more moves overall. So I think it's a little bit interesting there. All right, Bryce, Washington Commanders. This is the last one we're going to talk about unless you want to add anything else. They have made a ton of moves in free agency. Personally, for me, I absolutely love what they're trying to do to capitalize on Jaden Daniels' rookie window. They're going all in on just trying to retool his defense. While they're not like crazy signings by any means, they're trying at least.
Yeah. So here's where I'm at on the Commanders. I love what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball because it was obviously a struggle. But I'm looking at this offense. I actually meant to post this on X yesterday, but I'm looking at this offense and I'm struggling to find how they're gonna have success. I really am. Like, I don't think this offense is good. I look at the running back room. I thought they maybe had a shot at Rico Dowdle or something. It's pretty much Bill Cross-Schemera, and they added Rashad White, correct?
Yep.
Like, the running back room is very to me. And then the receiving room, you got Terry, who's going to be pushing 32 years old. Debo's a free agent. Tight end, is Zach Ertz gone?
No, they added Chig. They got Chig.
They added Chig, yeah. Yeah. I'm struggling to really believe in this team as a whole because I just don't think they're that good. I like what they're doing. I think they're adding to the defense well. I think the NFC East is just way better as a whole. I mean, I'm a Giants guy this year. I'm a believer in them. Dallas, we all know how good their offense is, and then Philly's kind of ran the show for a couple of years now. Like I'm struggling to see. I see the vision, but I don't see the vision. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It kind of reminds me of the Patriots last year. I feel like when I looked at the Patriots offseason outside of Milton Williams, like there was no significant additions that moved the needle for me, but I thought the roster was going to be improved. I think I'm in a similar situation with Washington. They're just in a much tougher division between all four teams. So I think wide receiver or running back, honestly, I don't love running back. I think they're fine at running back. Like you can plug and play different running backs with Jaden Daniels and they can have success. If they can go out and add a wide receiver at 7 in the draft or add a elite level cornerback, they're going to set themselves up for a lot of success around Jaden Daniels. You've got to maximize this guy's rookie contract, and they're trying the best. And it's not like they haven't tried in the wide receiver market. They were in on Dobbs. They were in on some of these other guys as well to add to that room and, make some noise. So they're trying their best to build around Jaden Daniels, and that's kind of all you can hope for in Jaden Daniels' case is that they're going out there and trying to get in on these guys. Fortunately, Washington is not a premier destination for a lot of free agents right now. And, Philadelphia, they added Reek Woolen. I think that might be the best cornerback room of all time. Like Reek Woolen, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, like easily, potentially the best of all time.
Yeah, and I think you bringing up them taking at pick 7, it kind of just struck me, which would kind of pain me a little bit. But yeah, if Jeremiah does go 4 to the Titans, and then the Commanders are kind of at that 7 spot. I want Carnell Tate to be a Saint so bad. I think that would be so ideal. But I think that would be a
Chief.
good fit. But yeah, no, if you guys do take Mekhi Lemon at 9, I will legit get a jersey. Like that's probably my favorite player in the draft. Like that is my guy. So you get him at 9, I will get a jersey and I will root there right along with you, even though I don't think you guys go wide receiver. I'm definitely not going to write it off.
Yeah. And I mean, like you had the Mekhi Lemon combine stuff too, and the 40-yard that came out on socials yesterday. You were mentioning that stick up the butt type vibe when he was running there.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what it is. Like, it just looked weird. But I'm not a running technique. I'm not a running guy. It just looked like he ran a 4.5. I can't knock him. And if anyone knocks him 4.5, you don't know the way he plays because that's not how he wins. But besides the point, like, it just looked like he was running weird. It looked like he was hurt or something. But my uncle, who's like a running coach or something, told me blah blah blah. He'll be all right. So I'm like, that's fine. My wide receiver one, regardless, we're cool.
All right, bet. Mekhi Lemon is good. You heard it here first. Well, hey, drop a comment down below. your reactions throughout free agency so far. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. Me and Bryce will catch you all next time.